William Hazlitt, painter, philosopher, son of a Unitarian minister, and a failed minister himself, reminds us that instead of taking as a motto, "I will lead you into knowledge," perhaps we should say, "I will show you a mystery." And so here in the beginning of the first month of winter are the words of Paul to the Corinthians. "Behold, I tell you a mystery. We shall not all sleep, but we shall all be changed. In a moment, in the twinkling of an eye, at the last trumpet." Was there ever a better evocation of sudden awakening? Shital ends his Zen poem, the Sandokai, with a suitable follow-through. "I respectfully urge you who study the mystery, do not spend your days and nights in vain." And listen, if you try, you can hear the call of Handel's trumpet sounding over Paul and Shital. And if you don't hear that, then try that old Episcopal hymn. "Brightest and best of the sons of the morning, dawn on our darkness and lend us thine aid. Star of the east, the horizon adorning, guide where our infant Redeemer is laid." Yes, I know that this is a hymn meant for the Epiphany and not for Advent, and certainly not for Rohatsu, which is my holiday. But it strikes me as appropriate for today, the first Sunday in the Christmas round of holidays known as Advent. And more to my point, to those days trending towards Rohatsu, the celebration of the Buddha's enlightenment. That is, if you can wrap your head around celebrating by sitting all night long on a cushion set forth on the floor. Rohatsu, the commemoration of that long ago morning when Siddhartha Gautama, sitting beneath the Bodhi tree, looked up, saw the morning star, and proclaimed, "I, together with the great earth and sentient beings, simultaneously attain the way." But here it's cloudy, it's rainy, cold, damp, miserable, not cold enough to freeze the mud out in my backyard, but cold enough to make you wish that perhaps it were colder. Cloud cover has blotted the sky both by day and by night. I've been unable to see any of the prophesied meteor showers, much less the morning star. The moon has become a stranger. Morning sunrise can only be taken on faith as the grayish-white fog gradually lightens without revealing even a hint of the sun. The hills have vanished into fog. As we glide towards Christmas, I'm reminded that Jesus in the manger and the Buddha under the Bodhi tree had the advantages of a warm and temperate climate, and in each story, a clear and cloudless night, ideal for both the morning star and the Star of Bethlehem. You need clear weather to appreciate those angels we have heard on high. Even the demon Mara and his seductive daughters required warm weather to try to tempt the Buddha from his future course. But does it matter? Shenyan was enlightened when a tiny pebble sent flying from his broom struck bamboo with a solid thunk. It could just as easily have been an oak leaf falling soundlessly from a tree in my backyard. The squelching of my boots walking through mud, that one single snowflake drifting down. The fields in the back are enveloped with fog, the fog and the mists of delusion. Driving across the river this morning, I was warned by a traffic signal that dense fog lay ahead, and on the bridge, the river below had disappeared in the swirling banks of that fog. This is the world we live in, not angelic choirs, not beams of light, not rainbows. No, we live and breathe in the mundane here and now, in the valley obscured by fog. Jesus may have had magi bringing gifts of frankincense and myrrh. We have the bearded mailman delivering yet more bills, yet more solicitations for donations. Still, he is, as that Zen priest Torizenji would point out, the bodhisattva pointing the way to enlightenment. In his words, this is the Buddha appearing to us, finding ways to free us from our own attachments, the very ones that have made us suffer again and again and again. But even if our skies, our eyes, our minds are clouded in delusion, our understanding of the way, our enlightenment is there, not on the other side of those banks of clouds, of that dense, impenetrable fog. Don't wait for the clouds to part or the fog to lift. No, there in the clouds themselves, this very life, this fog-enveloped existence is just this. That gift from the country of Japan, Shokaku Okamura, tells us that no matter how hard we practice, our motivation for practice is always based on some amount of self-centeredness. The act of truly seeing this self-centeredness is itself Buddha. To act on the reality of our delusion is itself Buddha. To realize delusion is to be a Buddha. Awakening to the incompleteness of our practice and returning to our path is the meaning of repentance and of atonement. Rohatsu is celebrated in East Asian traditions on the 8th day of the 12th month, a date fixed during the Meiji Restoration in Japan to align the Japanese calendar with those of the Western powers. Prior to that, the 12th month was the 12th lunar month. So I wonder, without knowing it, if, like the Islamic Ramadan, the celebration rotated through the year, observed sometimes in winter, sometimes in spring, summer, sometimes in fall. I like to think that the Buddha was able to sit without frost on a warm Indian night, that he had the real chance to gaze up at the end of that long night and see Venus twinkling on the horizon, unobscured by clouds. And here is that origin story told by that collector of enlightenment tales, Keizan Jokin. Shakyamuni Buddha was descended from the Sun lineage in India. At the age of 19, he left Kapila Palace at midnight when he cut off his hair and renounced the world. Then he began 6 years of ascetic practices. After that, he sat on the diamond seat in ultimate samadhi, where spiders spun webs between his eyebrows and magpies built nests on his head. Reeds pierced his lotus posture for another 6 years. On December 8th, during his 30th year, he attained enlightenment when the morning dawned. The words, I together with the great earth and sentient beings, simultaneously attain the way, where his first lions roar. But warm Indian dawn or foggy Pennsylvanian morning, none of these externals matter. Bright starlit night, brilliant radiant dawn, dense impenetrable fog. An apocryphal 16th century Italian friar might have the last word in his Christmas message to an equally apocryphal countess. The gloom of the world is but a shadow. Behind it, yet within our reach, is joy. There is radiance and glory in the darkness, could we but see, and to see, we have only to look. And so I greet you, not quite as the world sends greetings, but with profound esteem, and with the prayer that for you, now and forever, The day breaks, and the shadows flee away. Now let us rise together in body or spirit and join in the singing of our closing hymn, number 27 in the gray hymnal. I am that great and fiery force.